it's it's kind of funny. That's not really funny. But the blue dot with the red circle is for nuclear. If you look back at the old Vickers aircraft and some of the other stuff, you'll see some film with an aircraft. I believe it was either a green dot or it was a blue dot. I'm pretty sure it was a blue dot with a red circle, and sometimes it had a red outline around it. That symbol was for my nuclear team. They dropped the nuclear bombs, and well, I had them practicing on regular bombs, but they also, I forget which team did the actual bomb caddies and drops. And like I said, they're working on a universal rack that could go up into the bomb bay of the aircraft. Um, the first one was just a rack up in there, and then the second one, what we were working on a universal rack that could go up there, so it could drop multiple bomb ordnances if needed. And but the blue dot or a blue circle with red dot was for my nuclear team. In other words, they did nuclear. Well, they were kind of like a general squad. I used them for some other stuff, like also doing flyovers and taking pictures of places for nuclear power plants or looking at dam locations and stuff like that. They did a lot of just general stuff, and of course, probably also the bouncing Betty bombs or the bouncing barrel bombs. They actually used to use old barrels, by the way. They used to use the first ones were actually just old barrels that they filled with TNT and had them ram into something and explode or whatever with a fuse or something. But we could do a time fuse, but it's hard to get the impact fuse, which is what they're working at. The this mission that he's talking about, what the Damsters did next. That was actually they were working on a thing, and I finally tested it where they would destroy. I think they destroyed an Earth dam or something like that. But I had a lot of the teams running and flying and doing missions into stuff before the war. There was this beautiful time of peace, and then all hell broke loose, as they say. But but basically uh, they dropped the nuclear bombs and also did some other stuff, but a lot of nuclear stuff. Basically, it was just for nuclear though. They would do protection of nuclear. They also did security on the nuclear reactors as well. Eventually, later on, I had them doing security for the reactors themselves. They were like the if the nuclear reactor had an attack or something like that, or someone was attacking a nuclear reactor, they would fly in and go and secure it or whatever, or offer security. They became like my general purpose, all purpose nuclear team, basically, um, or nuclear security force. So they also had men that were trained for them and all kinds of stuff, or were going to. But basically, they were for dropping the nuclear bombs as well, because nuclear explosives have to be treated in a certain way. So they were my nuclear team in Britain, basically. Well, my nuclear team in general. But it's funny to see them on the symbols on the aircraft, and it's like, well, that was actually for my what's called. That wasn't really a what's called thing. Like I used lots of different symbols, like the red, like the black cross was actually for like medical, any kind of medical people, basically. I think started using the cross for medical. Um, the skull and crossbones meant contaminated or danger or something like that, which I would later on use that on my packaging stuff as well. Fortunately, though, a young Jimmy Carter did not know what any of this meant. Like I said, fortunately, Richard Nixon and Jimmy Carter and a lot of other people did not know what any of the symbols meant. They had to go and ask or had to attack and had to do bad things before they would find out what the symbols meant. Um, my people, as they say, were a little tight-lipped, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, though, but I have the biggest admiration for my RAF pilots and my RIF actually, or something like that. It's actually means radio frequency, whatever. It's actually the way they fly. I think I invented it or something, or had it invented for them or something like that. So they could do night bombing runs, so they could know where they were basically. knowing where you are in aircraft, they were always getting lost. Except for, actually, no, I would say all my aircraft were getting lost except for the RAF and British pilots in particular. Like a British pilot, they could almost fly at night without any electronics. Like my British pilots were the absolute top best. I mean, like I said, if I wanted it done right, I sent my British pilots because they knew what to do and how to do it. And they would do almost anything. Like I said, there were food drops sometimes where there's one thing where this one town was being attacked or something like that, and they couldn't hold out for very much longer. And I ordered a shipment to be done to them or whatever. I'm not really sure exactly because there is the me, Brian, now, and then there's the way I was before, which is what. And basically, it's kind of like letting your children out into the world. Like you hope for the best, you plan for the best, and then well, we see how good they are, how whatever they are. Anyway, though. But basically, I don't know where I was going with that. Oh yeah, but my British pilots, and I don't really like to call them the RAF. I like to call them my British pilots because that's what they were. I had British and German pilots, and they were the absolute best at everything. Um, the British pilots handled the nuclear stuff, and the German pilots handled some other stuff. But basically, I had a worldwide team. I also had my American pilots too. But with security leaks and the security problems, not really a security leak, but with Nixon and John McCain and all those others, like I say, they were just like pretty boys that learned to fly. They weren't like my British pilots. Those were special. Anyway, but the green, the blue dot with a red circle in it, or green dot with a red circle, meant nuclear, and basically. Was top security, yes. They had top security clearance for everything and all that stuff. Because, I don't know, I didn't want people knowing which aircraft had the nuclear stuff on it. And they also trained for, like, nuclear contamination and nuclear other this and nuclear that. I mean, going from Panama on to the rest of the world, things changed a little bit and everything else. And then, of course, there's the black attacks where the black people, actually, Africa decided to attack the Britain and everything else. Like they were just attacking everyone basically, and pretty much that one black Mumbai person wanted to be God or something like that, and he was all crazy and stuff. And pretty much, I don't know, he was just some 15-year-old that grabbed a gun and started running with it. So anyway, and Korea was making my armored cars. So anyway, though, this whole big world picture thing, and the real military running around and stuff like that, and what is real civilization?